Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX and I'm Megha Sharma. This is a very special telecast that we do on the eve of May 28 when the inauguration of the new Parliament building is going to happen at the hands of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. We are over here at the Raisina Hill. Behind me, you can see the South Block, and just perpendicular to me is the new Parliament building that has been covered completely by these green aluminum sheets. So the suspense is going to be tomorrow when that massive mega structure of the new Parliament building is going to be unveiled. So today I'm here with my panelists in front of my viewers to discuss about the history, the culture and the significance of the Parliament building right from the start when 1911. It was the foundation stone that was laid by King George V, who had come down to Delhi, to 1927 when the old Parliament structure was constructed by Edwin Lutyens and Herbert Baker. And finally, after almost a century, it is the new Parliament building that is indigenous, that is going to be inaugurated tomorrow. I start off my telecast with getting in Abhijit Iyer Mitra on the show with me. Abhijit, it's good to have you on the telecast with us. It is a momentous occasion for the entire nation. It is a momentous occasion for every single citizen living inside the country or outside. What is your first reaction to this mega launch of events that are going to take place tomorrow?
Well, I think my first reaction was pride. First when the beautification happened, you drive past India Gate and you see the entire vista. And it was looking prettier than ever before. And I've been coming here since I was a little kid living in Chanakyapuri since 1982. It was something really special watching the entire renewal. And then I finally saw this building. I've seen it from nearby buildings, from the roofs. But now actually coming past here and looking at it, I mean, we can't pan the cameras there, but if you look at it, it's something very special. On one hand, it's an extremely impressive building. The first thing you get a view of is those bronze lions on top.
Yes.
Which, automatically, there's just something it does to you inside. Even if you're not a nationalist, you kind of feel a certain pride.
Right. Absolutely.
And then what happens is, the beauty of this building is it doesn't overshadow the old Parliament. They exist in beautiful conjunction with each other. So it's actually very sensitive to its environment kind of a building.
Absolutely. Utpal Kaul also on the telecast with me. And sir, what a momentous occasion, and I feel part of the history today. We all are standing over here. We are as close to the new Parliament building as we can be. Tomorrow, while the Prime Minister will be inside the premises, he would be inaugurating the building. Every single citizen would be watching, putting on their television screens at 7:30 a.m. where the yagna will happen. There are religious ceremonies that are going to take place. There is going to be the handing over of the scepter. So it's the gravity of it can be felt by every Indian right now.
I'm so excited. And with me, whole of nation is excited to have our own, I repeat, our own Parliament. Because when this British architecture and British building was built, it was not built for Parliament. It was not built to celebrate the Indian democracy. It was built as Council House. And it was Viceroy's Lodge, which we call as Rashtrapati Bhavan. These are colonial symbols. These are colonial architecture. Although it was Indian money, it was Indian labor, but it was all British, and they thought they are going to live in India for ages. But now, tomorrow, we will have our own Parliament, and our beloved Prime Minister will inaugurate it. He is the leader of the House. Whole nation knows he is the leader of the majority party, and leader of the majority party of Parliament is the Prime Minister of India. On my left side, I am seeing the 4 bronzes of lions. This is Dharma Parivartana Chakra. When Ashoka, the King Ashoka, built this symbol, and we have taken it as the India's symbol, and this is on the Parliament on the roof of Indian Parliament. That means now this Parliament work for the Dharma and for the good of the people. That is my first reaction. Thank you.
Fair enough. You both have touched upon the national symbols. You talk about the lion, we talk about the peacock motifs. The entire theme of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha is based on the peacock theme. We also talk about the banyan tree that has been laid. That is also the national tree of our country. A.K. Mishra, coming to you. Now, how important do these symbols become? From the time that this was a heritage building that was of a colonial hangover to now everything that is intrinsic to what India and what Indians signify.
Ma'am, one thing is very much important. This is a very proud moment for each and every Bharati. I am not talking about Indian. And this is a proud moment for Bharat, not for India. One historical fact is there. When Britishers shifted there, you can say the capital from Calcutta to Delhi, and they built all these structures. When they started to working in this building, within 20 to 30 years, from entire globe, the British Empire has been vanished. It means it was not lucky for Britishers as well as for India. If you see in last 70 years, whatever the growth should be achieved by India, with all resources, we are having all different kind of the resources and talent we could not achieve. This only one building is such a historical importance it is carrying. You
Right.
say, this is from soil. You can say our thoughts, our history, each and everything has been putted where every Bharati can consider, can connect. Yes, this is our building representing Bharat, not the India. So that's why it is very much important for all Indians, all Bharati. 1,000-year glory, whatever it has been there, which was hidden, which was not explored. It will be unified each and everything across India at one place.
Right.
So this is very pride moment for every Bharati.
You're absolutely right. Dr. Amit Rai, we speak about the architecture, we speak about the interiors from the Freemason Society and the symbols that have been utilized in the old Parliament building. The old Parliament building on the left-hand side of my screen. My viewers can't see it, but it's on the left-hand side of the Raisina Hill over here while we stand. How is that juxtapositioned to what the new Parliament building has been built on?
देखिए, मुझे लगता है कि देश के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में फ़िलहाल जिस तरह से देश का नेतृत्व वो कर रहे हैं, वो भारत की प्राचीन संस्कृति, सभ्यता और देश के इतिहास को पूरे विश्व के सामने रख रहे हैं। अभी फ़िलहाल भारत की जो नई संसद भवन की बिल्डिंग का कल उद्घाटन होने जा रहा है। ये देश के लिए एक सेलिब्रेशन का मौका है, उत्सव का मौका है। और मैं कहूँगा कि अभी देश के प्रधानमंत्री अपनी सांस्कृतिक यात्रा पर विदेशों में थे। वहाँ उन्होंने एक बहुत विशेष बात कही कि भारत जो है लोकतंत्र की जननी है। पूरे विश्व के लोकतंत्र का जो जन्म हुआ है भारत से हुआ है। वो इस बात पे पिछले 1 वर्ष से अपने मन की बात में भी जिक्र कर चुके हैं। एक पुस्तक के बारे में उन्होंने जिक्र किया है, भारत लोकतंत्र से जननी। और मुझे लगता है कि भारत के लोकतंत्र को अगर वो दिखाना चाहते हैं तो इस नई बिल्डिंग के माध्यम से दिखाना चाहते हैं। और इतने कम समय में देश के इतिहास, संस्कृति, सभ्यता और स्थापत्य कला का जो अद्भुत नमूना इस नई बिल्डिंग के अंदर देखने को मिलेगा, वो पूरे विश्व के जितने भी डेलीगेट्स आने वाले हैं, भारत के जितने भी मेहमान आने वाले हैं, उनको लगेगा कि इस बिल्डिंग में आने के बाद कि देश की आत्मा, देश का जो सांस्कृतिक अनुभव है वो 1 घंटे 2 घंटे के अपने इस विजिट के अंदर देखेंगे। और इस बिल्डिंग में जैसा मुझे पता चला अभी, क्योंकि कल उद्घाटन होने के बाद हम लोग भी इसके अंदर जाएंगे, देखेंगे, उसको महसूस करेंगे, लेकिन जितना मुझे पता चला है आर्किटेक्चर और हिस्टोरिकल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से, इसके अंदर देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी और उनके जितने भी इसके एडवाइज़र रहे हैं, उन्होंने बहुत महत्वपूर्ण तरीके से देश के सांस्कृतिक इतिहास को वहाँ संजोया है। वहाँ की दीवारों पर जो जैन आगम हैं, जो बौद्धिस्ट लिटरेचर है, वेद हैं, पुराण हैं, उनकी सूक्तियाँ, जो संस्कृत टेक्स्ट है, प्राकृत है और जो प्राचीन भारत की भाषाएं उनमें लिखी गई हैं। और वहाँ पर बहुत अत्याधुनिक टेक्निक से उन्होंने इंडियन सिविलाइजेशन को, भारत की प्राचीन सभ्यता को इस बिल्डिंग के अंदर मूर्त रूप दिया है। तो मुझे लगता है कि पूरे विश्व के सामने देश का एक सांस्कृतिक इतिहास इस बिल्डिंग के माध्यम से सामने आएगा।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, आपने काफ़ी अच्छी तरह इसको एनकैप्सुलेट किया है। अभिजीत, I'm going to come back to you and we're talking about the structure, the infrastructure. I talk about Freemason Society on which the basis of the old Parliament building was, circles and triangles. Now this is steeped in British monarchy. This is steeped in how the British power, the British Empire has been built, and that was the way that back then King George V had also ordered for building of the entire city of Delhi, and that took 2 decades for these architects to come down over here and build this entire Lutyens Delhi is what we call it. Versus there has been a steady process by the current government, whether it was renaming Kingsway to Rajpath to now Kartavya Path, erecting the statue of Subhash Chandra Bose on when the inauguration of Kartavya Path happened, renaming of several of these iconic roads and iconic streets was also a symbolization of how the cultural ethos of the country needs to be highlighted. We talk about how it is the new India, the more nationalistic India, the more patriotic India, and that's the essence with which the government took forward this charge.
So, you know, it's slightly more nationalism than before, but notice even the old parliament out there is modelled after the Chauset Yogini temple, you know, which was something fundamentally very, very Indian. And, you know, it took the British something to go to an obscure temple in the middle of nowhere that is actually an architectural masterpiece and to design the parliament after that. Of course, there was the whole Freemasonry angle sort of superimposed on it, but there was also continuity. And I think what you're looking at here is, you know, civilizational continuity as well. Because you look at the fundamental style, sure, there's a Western element to the buildings we see behind us, but at the fundamental level, that red sandstone, you know, the offset balconies and things like that, they're fundamentally done for an Indian summer to, you know, offset the walls from the heat and so on and so forth. So it's also very, very Indian architecture in that sense. And what you're seeing now is a further continuity. Again, remember, it's the new parliament, it's a Gaumukhi structure. It's facing east, which is, the entrance is east, which is very auspicious, southeast really, facing the rising sun.
As per our Vastu rituals.
As per our Vastu. And this new one is, if the old one had slight overtones of Freemasonry, this one has a very clear that mandala structure, keeping it in mind. So you'll see change, continuity, and, you know, adjusting to the mood of the nation as you go forward.
I agree with you. There was an important point picked by my other panelists, Utpal called the time could not have been more right for the new parliament building to be inaugurated, keeping in mind that the G20 heads of the states are going to be arriving in India. They are going to be taken through this entire Raisana Hill from the entire Kartavya Path that reaches the Rashtrapati Bhavan. So this is, like I said, this is a symbol of pride. This is what we tell to the world, and the world is looking inwards towards India at this point of time, being the fifth largest economy, touted to be the $5 trillion GDP growth economy, and these aspects matter.
Whole of world is looking towards India, and this is most important because earlier I can say when 75 years before, when India was independent, it was more transfer of power. And what we need, what our panelist once said, it is now Bharat. India, that is Bharat. So we have to see it in the context of Bharat, and we have to showcase this entire Bharat to the world. And this is the best time. And I may tell you, I have to take the G20 delegates to different parts of Delhi. I am the one of the persons who will take them round. But I may tell you that this is the right time, and it was the need of the hour. Practical need. All the members of parliament were discussing for 2 decades that this is a small, we need more space. Because all political parties, they needed their own offices. Every parliament member needed space there, and they were discussing it. And now Modi ji, as usual, he is the person who takes great initiatives. And this was a great initiative to take the new parliament building. And here is the time. I may add one thing here. Tomorrow is the most auspicious day. It is the Pradurba of Mata Ragini. Mata is the most important, the goddess of Kashmir, and tomorrow is a holiday. It's a holiday whenever, after every year, it is Mata Ragini's Pradurba day, and that is tomorrow. And so it is coinciding with such a wonderful day, and I congratulate whole of nation that this day has been selected for inaugurating the new parliament building.
Yes,
and it will be so lucky for whole of nation.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, obviously it's a very detailed event. Every single point has been looked after. We talk about the Vastu, we talk about the auspicious day on which this inauguration is going to take place. And when we talk about the auspicious moments and the rituals, how can we forget about the Sengol, the scepter? And there has been a lot of controversy that the Sengol has faced. And A.K. Mishra, but we are going to particularly speak about how the seers of various mutts from Tamil Nadu, they all have been brought in. Yesterday at the Malay temple in Delhi, they were all gathered together. There was this sort of a dress rehearsal, if you could call it, that took place. And finally, the scepter is of all importance, where it is going to be taken with all the prayers, all the hymns that are going to be sung, all the religious activities that are going to take place around it, and then placed inside the parliament.
Ma'am, it's very nice question. Really, it's very nice question. I would like to say in historical manner. See, all these politicians, they have created that South is different, North is different, Dravidian culture as well as the Aryan culture, Aryan invasion theory and all these things. I would like to explain here that the entire culture of Tamil Nadu has been introduced and developed by Maharshi Agast. If you go to Tamil Nadu, you will find out that who was Maharshi Agast and what was the role of Maharshi Agast in developing modern day culture of Tamil Nadu. More than 7,000 institute or Gurukul he opened there, and basically he belongs to Varanasi. Up to the age of 19 years, Maharshi Agast was living in Varanasi. So जो ये बोला जाता है ना कि unity in diversity, how entire India is connected with each and every one. One side is Kasi, Nandi is also there, as well as on other side in Tamil Nadu. Nandi is having equally importance in the culture of Tamil Nadu also, as well as rest of other state culture also. So this is unification of not only, you can say, the public, not only each and every state, this building particularly, but you can say the soul, cultural soul of entire India. One statement is there कि अनेकता में एकता, जो ये लोग बोलते हैं ना कि diversity in unity, how to explain? This building is going to explain in beautiful manner. Yeah. You go, each and every state culture is there, thought is there, ideology is there, historical fact is there. This is one. And what is the moral foundation or ethical foundation of India or Indian culture? भारतीय सभ्यता का संगच्छध्वम संवद्धध्वम संवो मनासी जानताम, मतलब सब लोग एक साथ चलो, सब लोग मिल के चलो और एक ही दिशा में एक ही निर्णय लेकर के चलिए. Move in one direction with one thought. What this building is showing, this is showing that your state may be different, your culture, your language may be different, but we all are one. Our basic thought concept, it is one. One more ideological concept it is reflecting here, that the basic concept of Indian ideology or mythology is that sarve bhavantu sikhna sarve santu niramaya. That building, the old building, was only good for the Britishers because of they developed that building just to rule over the Indian, not for the welfare of the Indian, just to loot the Indian prosperity. This building is for each and every Indian, for each and every Bharati, for the prosperity, for the judgment, for justice, for equality. Yeah. So that's why I will not say Wah Taj. Here are some people, some politicians, those who are saying Wah Taj. They are appreciating Taj Mahal, that it is one of the wonderful buildings across the globe. But we should remember that the hands were chopped off. When Taj Mahal was built, hands were chopped off. But here, whatever the labor has put it, whatever the taxpayer they have put it their money, they are going to enjoy the opening ceremony. They are going to get a respect here. This is the difference between ideology and culture, and why I am feeling proud. This is a proud moment for me.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely. Yeah, you make all the valid points over here. Dr. Rai, getting you back into the conversation, we talk about the scepter, and obviously it's an emotional moment for all of us all, and Mr. Mishra got emotional. I think it's a moment that we all cherish. We all cherish, and fair enough.
Emotion for your land, for your culture, there is no value, no meaning of your life.
Absolutely.
We should not have emotion for Pakistan or other.
I completely agree with you. That's why to hold this telecast over here, to tell the people of the country that the gravity of the situation at this point of time, the ethos that we all feel for a parliament building that is a once in a lifetime opportunity for people to witness across the country, across various continents who live, the Indian diaspora that lives. But Dr. Rai, we're talking about again, Mr. Mishra spoke about the fact that there have been handicrafts, there have been art, there has been these peacock motif, there have been a number of these workers who have been brought in from several parts of the country. For example, the weaving of the carpets has been done by these workers from Gujarat. There is the sandstone that is brought in from Rajasthan, and there are a lot of pictorial depictions that have been put that amalgamate what India stands for, that amalgamates what states of the country stand for. Isn't it a beautiful juxtaposition of the north and south and the east and west?
देखिए, मुझे लगता है कि सबसे पहले तो हम लोग सब सौभाग्यशाली हैं कि हम लोगों के समय में देश की अस्मिता के और आज़ादी के प्रतीक भारत के संविधान की आत्मा कहें तो उसके शरीर को संसद कहा जा सकता है। तो उस संसद भवन का नवनिर्माण देश के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री की दीर्घ दृष्टि से हुआ है। आपने बात कही, मैं इससे बीच में एक बात ये भी कहूँगा कि G20 कंट्रीज़ के मेज़बानी अभी फ़िलहाल हम लोग उसके बिल्कुल पहले छोर पे हैं, बहुत जल्दी करेंगे। तो पूरे विश्व के जितने लीडर्स हैं, जितने भी पूरे विश्व को संदर्भित करने वाले जो रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स हैं इंडिया में आएंगे। उससे पहले इस बिल्डिंग का उद्घाटन होना बहुत रेलेवेंट है, बहुत प्रासंगिक है। और इस संसद की नई बिल्डिंग में एक संघोल की बात आ रही है कि जो राजदंड की स्थापना हुई है, भारत का प्राचीनतम राजदंड है और प्राचीन प्रणाली इसकी है, क्योंकि भारत में जितनी लोकतांत्रिक संस्थाएं हैं, चाहे वो देश की संसद हो, चाहे वो धार्मिक संस्थाएं हों, चाहे वो पंचायत व्यवस्था हो, तो लोगों को समझ में पहले नहीं आया जब संघोल की बात आई कि राजदंड कैसे स्थापित होगा। तो मैं इसके बारे में अच्छी जानकारी दे सकता हूं, क्योंकि पश्चिमी उत्तर प्रदेश के अंदर कुछ ऐसी खाप व्यवस्थाएं हैं, कैसी कुछ पंचायत व्यवस्थाएं हैं जहां आज भी चांदी के या गोल्ड के संघोल हैं, और जब कोई नया प्रधान या पंचायत का प्रमुख चुना जाता है तो उसको वो दिया जाता है। ये भी जो फिलहाल जिस गोल्ड गिल्डेड यानी कि वैसे चांदी का बना है, गोल्ड का उसके ऊपर फॉइलिंग है, वो देश का जब सत्ता का हस्तांतरण ब्रिटिशियंस ने पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी जो कि प्रथम प्रधानमंत्री थे उनको किया, तो उस समय भी ये बात आई कि किस तरह से आप चाहेंगे। जब ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट ने पंडित जी को कहा तो पंडित जी ने उस समय चक्रवर्ती राजगोपालाचारी जी से इस बात का समय लेकर के ब्रिटिशियंस गवर्नमेंट के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स से कहा कि मुझे समय दीजिए। तो राजगोपालाचारी जी ने कहा कि हाँ, देश के आगमों में, वेद में ऐसा वर्णन है, ऐसी चीज़ें मिलती हैं कि जब सत्ता का हस्तांतरण हो तो हम एक राजदंड स्थापित करें। राजदंड की स्थापना है कि लोकतंत्र की स्थापना करना या न्याय की स्थापना करना, और राजदंड एक ऐसा दंड है कि जिसके ऊपर कुछ उन्होंने स्क्रिप्ट लिखी है, उसके ऊपर तमिल लैंग्वेज भी लिखी है, उसके ऊपर चोला साम्राज्य का प्रतीक यानी कि इंडिया की जो रिलीजियस या सांस्कृतिक एक प्रतीक के तौर पे उस पर नंदी यानी कि बुल बनाया गया है। बुल जैन धर्म के अंदर भी तीर्थंकर ऋषभ देव का लांछन है, और उसी तरह से हिंदू संस्कृति के अंदर भी भगवान शिव की जो सवारी या उनका जो सिंबल माना जाता है वो बुल माना जाता है। तो मेरा कहना है कि देश की सांस्कृतिक अवधारणाओं को आज आज़ादी के 75 वर्षों के बाद अगर कोई सरकार, अगर कोई हमारे देश का नेतृत्व भारत की इस सांस्कृतिक धरोहर को वहाँ पर प्रस्तुत कर रहा है, क्योंकि 75 वर्षों में ये जो राजदंड है, पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी ने वहीं पे इलाहाबाद म्यूज़ियम में और वहाँ अपना सारा संग्रह दिया, बहुत दिनों तक वो स्टोर रूम के अंदर रखा रहा। तो ये बहुत दीर्घ दृष्टि की बात है। दूसरा, आपने कहा कि इस आर्किटेक्चर में, इस बिल्डिंग के अंदर देश का सारा सांस्कृतिक निचोड़ है, यानी कि कहें तो पूरा अगर देश को देखना है, देश की आर्किटेक्चर को देखना है, देश की आर्ट को देखना है, ड्राइंग को देखना है, म्यूज़िक को देखना है, पेंटिंग्स को देखना है, तो वो यहाँ देखा जा सकता है। तो ये टाइम सेलिब्रेशन का है। अभी एक जिक्र भी आ रहा था कि जब जॉर्ज पंचम हिंदुस्तान में आए तो तब इसका उद्घाटन हुआ, तो उस टाइम तो ब्रिटिशियंस ने देश की जो सांस्कृतिक विरासतें थी उनके साथ खिलवाड़ किया। अजंता एलोरा के अंदर तो उनका डिनर किया गया, जो गुफाएं हैं, और आज भी इस बात का मेरे पास कुछ बुक्स हैं, उसमें लिखा है कि उस समय जब अजंता एलोरा के अंदर जॉर्ज पंचम जब यहाँ पे आए थे तब उनका स्वागत किया गया, उसके अंदर डिनर किया गया, तो उसके अंदर वहाँ जो पेंटिंग्स थी नीचे वाली उनको मिटा दिया गया, यानी कि उनका रेस्टोरेशन नहीं किया गया। उनको लगा कि वो गंदी है तो हटा दिया गया। लेकिन अगर इस तरह की विरासतों को ध्यान दिया जाए और देश के सांस्कृतिक महत्व को इस तरह से देश की जो सरकार है, देश का नेतृत्व करने वाले प्रधानमंत्री ला रहे हैं, तो पूरे विश्व के लिए एक सेलिब्रेशन का मौका है। इंडियंस के लिए, भारतीयों के लिए विशेष गौरव का क्षण है।
Abhijit, you've heard it from the other panelists. You know, it's important to celebrate this very wonderful moment, the once in a lifetime milestone that India has achieved. I'll continue to have this discussion about the scepter. Sengol, there was a lot of controversy, and I don't know why, and particularly the issues being raised by why was the then Prime Minister Pandit Nehru decided to keep it at a museum in Allahabad and called it a walking stick, when the significance of the Sengol is so much more, as has been described by our other panelists as well. How do you feel that there has been this entire role of building a ceremony within a ceremony to hand over the scepter and put it in the parliament? Why was it that when the scepter was first received by the Prime Minister of our country, the first Prime Minister of our country, it was kept in a museum? And what is the what does it signify, and how important does it become? How integral does it become to the inauguration of the parliament tomorrow?
Right. So remember, the concept of a scepter actually is slightly scary in that it represents the authority of the state, in that it's used to clobber down anybody who disagrees with the authority of the state. That's the origin of it. But, the thing about Modi is he's a master of symbolism. So, you were raising the issue that there's a banyan tree planted out there. Banyan tree is the Paramaguru. All knowledge is to be gained under the branches of the banyan tree. The lotus is again a symbol of wisdom and knowledge, and it's the national flower. The peacock is again, it's the Vahana of Kartikeya, which is the god of war. And you look at the Sengal. The Sengal is the symbol of the Chora Empire, which actually went and conquered Southeast Asia. There was their great expedition against the Srivijaya Empire and things like that. So when you're looking at a sort of maritime expansion and this focus on India being the Indian Ocean power, to get the scepter idea from a empire that was renowned for maritime projection to a distance that had never been done like that before, ever, is something, it's the symbols within the symbols within the symbols within the symbols, right? There's a very deep symbolism happening out here. The other part of the Sengal is that let's leave aside the part about Nehru, because we still don't know who labelled it a walking stick. Did he himself label it a walking stick or not? But to take something that the Congress kind of rejected as part of its own heritage, which should have celebrated from the south of the country, it's such a lovely act of national integration, bringing it, giving it the prominence. It's also slightly bait, allowing somebody to attack it then. And do you really think anybody is going to vote for the fact that you attacked the Sengol? It's a very powerfully emotive issue. And at the same time, attacking it just makes you look very stupid. I'm sorry to say that. So, it's so many things. Again, these symbols hidden within the symbols which people don't get.
You're absolutely right. And talking about symbolism, Utpal Kaul, there was one instance back in our histories when it was Pandit Nehru who was the Prime Minister of our country, and talking about secularism of the nation within the country, the democracy that reigns supreme. There have been instances that have been cited in the books of history that once, at one point of time, when the Somnath temple was to be inaugurated, Pandit Nehru was disagreeable that the president of our country, Rajendra Prasad, go and inaugurate it, talking about how it is secularism that needs to be put at its pinnacle, and if a president of a country were to go and inaugurate the Somnath temple, which is a symbol of Hindu heritage, that might look upon as something of being communalist or unsecular. In contrast, when you take a look at the Ram temple, where the foundation stone was laid by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Ram temple symbolizes the faith of millions and millions of Hindus across the globe, within our country. How do you witness this amalgamation of all faiths coming together at the Parliament building, but also the symbolism that may have been let go of by the Congress for its desire, its ideology to be quote-unquote secular, versus what is secular in today's date and age in our country?
First of all, I want to suggest or advise all opposition leaders, please go and read history. They have no idea of Indian history. They have not read ancient Indian history. And I think those who have read ancient Indian history seriously, they understand what is the meaning of Rajadand, Dharmadand. It was tradition in every state or every kingdom. It was basically Rajaguru was handing over to tell him that you have to deliver justice, but with authority. Because a weak person cannot rule. But justice should be done. And I want to tell these people that India had the democracy from grassroots, because panchayat system is thousands of years is panchayat system in India. And coming up to Nehruji, he's my Kashmiri elder, so I have to talk very respectfully with him and with totally disagreeing what he did all his life. Problem is that I don't know, they had a mindset, weak mindset, because they thought 700 years Muslims have ruled. Muslims have got Pakistan. And why still they were subduing, they were not freely and frankly talking what is the truth. And it was shame when he advised Rajendra Prasad, our respectable president, not to go and inaugurate Somnath temple. Somnath is the first Jyotirling. Varanasi is second. But Somnath is the most important Jyotirling. That is the soul of India. And telling about secularism, it was again shame in 1975-76 during emergency. Secularism was included in our constitution. India, Hindu, is basically secular. We say Vasudeva Kutumbakam. We see all human beings, we cannot discriminate. That is the Indian philosophy, that is the Hindu philosophy, that is the Bharati Sanskriti. So tomorrow we are going to see this Bharati Sanskriti and
in all
the
its,
symbols,
in all its grandeur, in all its grandeur.
Symbols from Jan to every thing will be symbolized inside the parliament. That will be the fate of India.
And it will be an absolute spectacle to watch, and we all will be gathered there in front of our television screens. I'm also right now being joined by Vishal Gupta. He's an architect. Vishal, it's good to have you on the telecast. We're talking about the architecture and the interiors and how important and significant they become in a scenario where India is growing. India is becoming a superpower. India is becoming a power to reckon with across the globe. But also how symbolic it become and how important it is for Indians and our democracy to have their own standpoint, to not borrow a legacy that is British owned versus what is intrinsically Indian. If you could shed more light into the architecture and how that symbolizes the intrinsic nature of our country.
So in terms of the architecture, how it begins is that previously the building, as you mentioned rightly, was made by Britishers, but now with the growth of the country, it's being near about 75 years, country is growing, population is growing, and the new ideas where the country is going towards supernatural. So where all those thought process along with the technology also is coming. So the new building which is being created is not only taking the ancient architecture, but also the new technologies which are coming to safe and secure. Because with this building, all the leaders who are going to be over there in the building are going to lead the country. So one is the architecture, which is as per our ancient things, plus the technology also is playing the role. Because since past few years, building sustainable future is the key. When building sustainable future is the key to lead the country, which is having second population, largest population.
Now the biggest, largest population across the globe.
So we need at least the building which is enabling building sustainable future, plus the technologies also to safeguard the leaders.
You know, that was one of the points that had been raised when the foundation stone, before the foundation stone was laid, there was the idea, the inception of the idea that a new parliament building is required. There was a lot of opposition to this thought as well, but the government of India went ahead with this, and now we have the building. The old parliament building is now dilapidated. It is stressed. There are not enough people. There are not enough parliamentarians that can be seated in the Rajya Sabha or the Lok Sabha. And therefore, the capacity has now been increased to almost 1300 in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha.
Correct.
There have been technological advances that have been made to ensure that all works carries on smoothly, and it is, like you said, sustainable. But at the same time, with the technology, with the world, we don't look like we are behind a century when it comes to our workings, when
Rightly
it comes
said.
to if you could shed more light into what all has been done besides the increased capacity, besides getting the technology, besides setting up the whole theme of what Parliament signifies.
So what about the Parliament signifies is, first, there are lots of international standards what need to be followed as per the sustainable building. Now all those standards have been followed. We know previously sometimes intrusion has been happened in our previous building, and to remove that, what all technology advancements are there in terms of the authentication, in terms of the cyber attacks, etc., in terms of the security checks enabling RBAC model, role-based authentication model, all those models have been in place where it is, you can say, all the international kind of security safety measures first time has been adopted within this particular building along with the LEED certification, so that this is a greener building which the future is.
I completely agree with you. And on that note, A.K. Mishra, I'm going to now delve into the, we are in the latter half of the 1 hour discussion that we are having with regards to the history, the architecture and the cultural significance of the building. There's also been a lot of questions that have been raised by critics, by opposition, why they want to boycott this building. The emphasis on the protocols, whether they have been followed or not followed. As a common man, as somebody who's watching all of this on television screens or reading in your newspapers or scrolling through your mobile phones, what is the first perception the common person has with all this politics playing around the new Parliament building?
Actually, if we see the ground level report, any Bharati, again I am saying not Indian, any Bharati, they are happy, they are feeling proud, as you are feeling proud, I am feeling proud, each and every crew member is feeling proud. Some of the Indians are still living in India. You can say they were trained, groomed, born and brought up by the Britishers. They may raise the question that this is the problem, that is the problem, we don't require. Why you don't require? You require only Vahtas and so many other things. Even this plan, this design as well as the concept, it was planned by the Congress government few years back. Even they are opposing right now. What are the basic reason why they are opposing? Because of this great work has been done by a different government. If Congress government was there, they are going to build up this building, then they will be welcoming this building. So these are very, you can say, the very much narrow-minded type of the thinking it is there. Progress should be there, new development. See, so many expressway, highway are going to be developed by the Indian government, not by the BJP government or Nitin Gadkari ji. So they will also, whether they are having the daring to boycott all those expressway, that we are not going to use that expressway.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's a valid point. That's a valid argument. Getting back to Dr. Rai, what A.K. Mishra has said, and again coming back to the controversy, should we? I mean, is there a way, or was there a way? Now perhaps we don't have enough time. It's just less than 12 hours till the inaugural of the Parliament building. But could there have been an outreach from the government of India itself, the leaders like J.P. Nadda or Amit Shah reaching out to these opposition leaders and requesting them and appealing to them that let go of your political differences and come together in unity as one large structure, one part of this massive, huge, greatest, largest democracy, and unite for a day, for the cause of India, for the cause of Indians?
देखिए, बहुत महत्वपूर्ण सवाल आके खड़ा हो गया है, क्योंकि देश की अस्मिता की और सांस्कृतिक विरासत की इस महानतम जो रचना की गई है देश की सरकार के द्वारा, उसका विरोध करना तो मुझे लगता है कि देश के लोकतंत्र का विरोध करना है। और जितने भी अपोजिशंस के लीडर्स हैं वो मुझे लगता है कि विशुद्ध राजनीति कर रहे हैं। इसके अंदर 100% राजनीति है, कहीं से भी कोई मुद्दा, कहीं से कोई तर्क उनका नहीं है। आजकल क्योंकि आपने अभी कॉमन मैन की बात करी कि जो जनरल इंडियंस हैं, भारतीय हैं, वो इस बारे में क्या सोचते हैं, या अपोजिशंस के जो लीडर्स हैं उनको, जो अभी फ़िलहाल सत्ता पक्ष के जो हमारे नेता हैं, उन्होंने रिक्वेस्ट की है कि वो इस बिल्डिंग के उद्घाटन में शामिल हों। तो मुझे लगता है कि राजनीतिक दृष्टि से तो वो इसमें शामिल नहीं होंगे, लेकिन भारत के आम जनता की जो बात है आजकल सोशल मीडिया पे बहुत ज़्यादा चलती है। तो मुझे परसों एक मैसेज आया जिसके अंदर एक कटाक्ष था। उसमें कहा गया कि क्या जो देश के फ़िलहाल विपक्ष के लोग हैं वो क्या इस तरह का जो वातावरण बना रहे हैं कि हम इसका विरोध करते हैं, इसके उद्घाटन में नहीं जाएंगे, तो क्या ये भी कह सकते हैं कि आगामी किसी भी बैठक के अंदर इस नई बिल्डिंग के अंदर नहीं जाएंगे? तो ये बहुत, वैसे तो क्योंकि बच्चों ने भेजा मुझे, लेकिन बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है कि ये क्यों मजाक क्यों कर रहे हैं। इस तरह का मजाक करना देश की अस्मिता या गौरव के प्रतीक के साथ खिलवाड़ करने जैसा है, भारत की लोकतांत्रिक आत्मा और उस शरीर के साथ खिलवाड़ करने जैसा है। क्योंकि 10वें कालिक सूत्र में एक बात कही, धम्मो मंगल मुक्किठम अहिंसा संयमोतवो देवा वीतम नमम संति जस धमे सयामनो। प्राकृत का ये सूक्त है जिसमें कहा गया कि जहाँ धर्म है, जहाँ संयम है, तप है, त्याग है, तपस्या है, जहाँ निर्णय है, जहाँ पे अस्मिता है, जहाँ देश है, वहाँ पर उस जगह को, उस स्थान को देवता भी प्रणाम करते हैं। तो यहाँ देवताओं के प्रणाम की बात नहीं है, लेकिन भारत का जो आम जनसाधारण है वो चाहता है कि इस गुलामी के प्रतीक जो प्राचीन, यानी कि जो हमारा 100 वर्ष पुराना बना हुआ बिल्डिंग है, क्योंकि एक बिल्डिंग की मियाद भी है, एक मॉन्यूमेंट बन चुका है, तो अगर नई बिल्डिंग अत्याधुनिक तरीके से देश के इतिहास को, संस्कृति को सामने ला रही है, तो उसमें देश के हर नेता, क्योंकि नेता वो अपनी पार्टी की तो बात कर रहा है, लेकिन अपने जो जहाँ का नेतृत्व करता है, एक जो लोकसभा का सांसद है कई लाख लोगों का नेतृत्व करता है, तो उसके अंदर उसको सब आम जनसाधारण की बात को ध्यान में रखना चाहिए। और पार्टियों को, सभी को इसमें, मैं कहता हूं कि आम जनता ये चाहती है कि वो इसमें शामिल हों और अपने देश के लोकतंत्र को और अपने संसद को प्रणाम करें।
Abhijit, the same question to you. Now, this has been a controversy going on for weeks together now. I would also like to mention that right from the start of the inception of the idea, there was opposition that was being shown. Now, then the foundation stone was lowered. It was during COVID time. So is this becoming a ploy of the political parties that are opposing the BJP government to watch out for the 2024 elections that are going to take place, and therefore they think that this is going to work in their favor? Perhaps the common man is going to support them. Perhaps that's how they're going to build a perception against the government and therefore get the votes. Or is it actually on the basis of their principles that they are opposing it?
So, I think we need to separate the opposition here. There is the Congress and then there is the rest of the boycotting parties. With the rest of the boycotting parties, they don't have much experience at the center. So I don't think they know what is going to win in a central election and what is not. Because each one of them is a regional party that's never really contested outside their little, their ghetto or whatever it is they're from. Because remember, they're also not pan-regional parties. Yeah. Even within the states, they represent a certain region, a certain community, etc., etc. You only have two national parties really in India. One is the Congress and one is the BJP. So for the Congress, again, I find this line of thought quite astounding. How do you think boycotting the opening of Parliament is going to win you votes? I mean, do you honestly think if you go ask ice cream wale bhaiya here or rickshaw wale bhaiya there or pan wale bhaiya nearby, हमने Parliament opening को boycott किया, आप हमारे लिए vote दो, do you think he's going to vote for you? If you go tell this to a farmer, do you think he's going to vote for you? So the Congress's opposition comes from a much deeper, visceral level. They've never been out of power for so long as to see somebody else build something lasting. In India's history, we've only had three big road builders, historically. The first was Ashoka, the second was Shesha Suri, the third was Atal Bihari Vajpayee. The problem was the Atal Bihari Vajpayee government only lasted 6 years, so, a lot of the road building then got completed under Manmohan Singh. But today, we're at a stretch where we're laying 100 kilometers of road a day. That is a phenomenal pace to be doing it at. So, essentially Nitin Gadkari and Modi come off as people in the same line as Ashoka, Shesha Suri and Atal Bihari Vajpayee, taken to the next level, on steroids, if you want to call it that. I don't think that's an appropriate analogy in the Indian context, but you know what I mean. And therein lies the problem. The Congress can't accept that something lasting and permanent associated with the Indian state will ever be associated with somebody not of the family and not of the party.
Okay.
And that becomes very problematic for them because they think they have this monopoly on the idea of India. Of course, I don't know if you've read the book An Idea of India. I couldn't get past the first 5 pages because even they can't enunciate what exactly the idea of India is. We're just told, in the morning the sun rising is the idea of India, in the evening the sun setting is the idea of India, the sky being blue is the idea of India, the grass being green is the idea of India. There's no clarity on it. So basically they keep shifting goalposts, and now it's being taken decisively in a sort of the cultural identity of India, not a time-based obsolete idea of India based around loyalty to a family and independence struggle that ended 70 years back, that is no longer relevant to this country and is no longer meaningful to its population, which is almost overwhelmingly born after independence.
Interesting thoughts over there. Utpal Kaul, again, the same question to you, but also, do you think it's a valid point saying that if the first citizen of the country, President Murmu, should be the one who should be inaugurating the parliament building? What's wrong with that argument that is put forth by the Congress and the other opposition leaders?
Let me first tell you that it was the Congress government and Meera Kumar, she was the speaker. It was mooted this idea of building new parliament by Congress.
Yeah.
And even they had made the committee and it was decided that 3,000 crores, not 3,000 crores
yes.
will be spent on building the new parliament. And luckily it was now Modi ji, it is only 900 to 1,000 crore were used for this new building. Basically, now they say that there was no need. It was Congress. We said that we have to make new parliament. Now I heard the Jairam Ramesh. I think he is a very wise man. But why he is talking like that? He said there was no need of new parliament. Old parliament was a beautiful building. But I myself, when I was regularly going to the parliament, and so many parliament members, they were talking that we need place here, and pani niche utarta tha, is chhat
Yeah,
se
it was
pani,
leak- yeah, there was
pani
leakage,
aa raha tha. And so we really needed a new parliament. Now coming for inauguration, let me tell my other panelists also, if it would be during the time of Jawaharlal Nehru, had he allowed Rajendra Prasad to inaugurate it, and if Indiraji would have been there, would she have been allowed Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad to inaugurate it? I think it's a bogus. This question has no relevance.
But now
And
we
I-
speak of
I think-
conjecture.
I
It's not
think-
as if this has happened during Indira's time, this has happened during Rajiv's time.
And I think technically, head of the state of Bharat is our president, but leader of the house is Modi ji. He is the Prime Minister of India. So it is apt. It is the decision of Modi ji's inauguration is totally
Okay.
800% correct.
Yes, Abhijit.
I just want to add to what Kaulji said, just a quick point. Show me the protocol document that says the Prime Minister can't open it. Is there anything in the government rule book or the protocol manuals that say a government building can't be opened by the Prime Minister of India? They're just citing, this is like their idea of India, it comes out of thin air like some Houdini ka magic
Perhaps the
trick.
constitution of our country, when it was written, when it was drafted, did not have the foresight to that,
but-
because you
but the
don't have a
protocol
consti-
rules
you
are
don't have-
dynamic.
you don't have the
The
parliament
protocol
building being
rules have-
built every 10 years or every 20 years.
Sure, but the protocol rules are dynamic. They've evolved through this thing. You look at the welcome ceremony that happens here for foreign heads of state. It's changed over time. The Republic Day, the first ceremony was held somewhere in Red Fort. Things happen in different places. Protocol changes over time. This is an issue of protocol. By the way, I find it really ironic that a party that boycotted the president's address to parliament is talking about respecting the office of the president. कुछ
there are
hypocrisy भी सीमा होनी
counter
चाहिए।
arguments that have been put forth by the Congress as well with regards to why they decided to. They technically did not boycott it, but the fact that they were stranded in Srinagar because of inclement weather, because of heavy snowfall, that they could not attend the president's address before the budget session. But we'll come to that.
But we've also seen how the DMK treated this representative in the Indian state, Governor Ravi, during his address to Parliament. We've also seen how the TMC treated Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar when he was governor of Bengal. So, you know, this...
so the argument goes both ways.
It goes both ways.
Okay. All right. I'm going to again come back to A.K. Mishra. A.K. Mishra, it's important point that we raise. And again, it does the argument that it should be the president of the country that should inaugurate the parliament. Does it have enough weightage?
Ma'am, this is totally null and void type of the argument, especially in Indian culture, Bharati culture. Presence of West wishes, goodwill, unki shubheksha, unka ashirwad, it is more important rather than the physical present. One example I am saying, all the opposition leaders, they are cursing, they are criticizing. Physically, they are present in that auspicious building, that holy building, but they are cursing. They are abusing to the future of India. So who is more better? The presence, physical presence of any great person, big person, it is not that much. Of course, that is important, but it is not that much important. But their best wishes, unki shubheksha, unka ashirwad hona hi sabse bada unka presence hai. The second important thing, particularly in current scenario, if we see one side, especially for the Aam Aadmi Party, 45 crore rupees of people, they have invested for the decoration of reconstruction, decoration, interior decoration for their living palace, their houses. And the same people, this building is built up not by funded by BJP or Congress or any political party. The money of our common people has been invested here. They are abusing, they are investing, they are abusing to 150 crore people of India. अगर वो ये बोल रहे हैं कि we are not going to celebrate, we are not going to enjoy or entertain or sit, it means they are abusing 250 crore voters. The second important thing, let me explain one more minute.
But A.K. Mishra, what they're also saying is that they don't have a problem with celebrating this symbol of democracy in our country. What they have a problem with is that there's no quote-unquote protocol being followed.
Ma'am, especially in India, if you see in historical manner, say since last thousands of years, when very auspicious thing is there, which is having or showing the value likewise or equivalent to puja, आप किसी भी मंदिर में जाइए, किसी भी ग्रेट मंदिर में जाइए, इज देयर एनी काइंड ऑफ प्रोटोकॉल, एवरीवन इज गोइंग, वहाँ पे इंपॉर्टेंस भावनाओं की होती है. सो ऑल दीज वॉट एवर दे आर सेइंग प्रोटोकॉल, दिस रूल, दैट रेगुलेशंस, दे जस्ट willfully they are creating hurdles, okay, for their political gain. What I wanted to say that, and what is the objection if Prime Minister Modi is going to, anybody can inaugurate, I don't have any objection, but the reason is that this building is dedicated for 150 crore of Indian people, and who is the direct representative or elected in elected manner by elections, that all these MP and PM Modi is also MP.
Okay, so the elected head of the country is Prime Minister Narendra Modi, because he won with the majority. Okay, quickly a last word from Dr. Amit Rai before I wrap up this discussion. Also there has been a very strong opposition argument putting forth that had it been the president of our country, Draupadi Murmu, who was present on the occasion tomorrow for the inauguration, the spotlight would move from Prime Minister Narendra Modi and it is going to go to Draupadi Murmu, and that is what Prime Minister allegedly did not want.
देखिए, मुझे लगता है कि ये सब बातें बचकाना हरकतों जैसी है जैसे बच्चे हरकत करते हैं, क्योंकि देश की जो कैबिनेट है वो पूरे देश की आम जनता के द्वारा चुनी गई है. वो रिप्रेजेंटेटिव हैं इंडिया की आम जनता के, और देश के प्रधानमंत्री आम जनता की अस्मिता के, या यूँ कहूँ कि एकमात्र रिप्रेजेंटेटिव है पूरे विश्व के सामने. और देश की प्रधानमंत्री के साथ साथ देश की जो अस्मिता की प्रतीक हैं राष्ट्रपति जी भी हैं, लेकिन जो देश की कैबिनेट है उनका निर्णय मुझे लगता है कि सबसे आखिरी है. और देश की आम जनता ने जो विपक्ष की पार्टियां हैं उसमें मेनली कांग्रेस कहा जाए अगर, तो उनको भी 71 साल का समय दिया है देश पे शासन करने का, देश पे राज करने का. लेकिन जो पिछली गवर्नमेंट्स ने बहुत सारे उद्घाटन किए हैं, क्योंकि मीडिया से जो चीज़ें छन छन के आती हैं पता चलता है कि बहुत सारी विधानसभाओं का जो इनॉग्रेशन किया गया, लोकार्पण किया गया, उस समय विपक्षी पार्टियों की जो पार्टी की अध्यक्षा थी वो किसी संवैधानिक पोस्ट पे नहीं थी। तो मुझे लगता है कि अगर उनसे करा लिया गया है तो देश के प्रधानमंत्री जो पूरे विश्व को देश की सांस्कृतिक धरोहर की पहचान दे रहे हैं, देश का नेतृत्व कर रहे हैं, वो अगर करते हैं तो इसमें विपक्षी पार्टियों का कोई रोल नहीं है। अगर विपक्षी पार्टियों का रोल इस तरह से लिया जाए कि किस चीज़ को करना है, किसको नहीं करना है, हाँ सामंजस्य बनाया जा सकता है, लेकिन अगर कोई निर्णय किया जा चुका है तो उसके अंदर विपक्षी पार्टियों को कोई किसी तरह का मुद्दा नहीं बनाना चाहिए, क्योंकि वो अपने आप खुद ही हंसी का पात्र पूरे देश के सामने बन रही है। उसको पॉलिटिकली उनको कोई फ़ायदा नहीं होगा, उससे आम जनता उनसे नाराज़ होगी।
Okay. On that note, I come to the end of this telecast. Thank you all my panelists for joining me over here at the Raisina Hill. All important occasion tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. onwards.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.